What's up, hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Pod Snipe Celly. My name is Dan Bradley. Alongside me tonight, Joel Fernino. Joel, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing well. If you have, I'm waiting for Mark to send a comment of I'm adding to my camera angle. Uh, I can't do words right now. My camera angle arsenal. How's that sound?
Yeah, it's just a little bit different setup that you got there. It looks like
I built a new PC.
computer built.
Yup. I did, and actually, in fact, you see the tiny screen there. I just realized I'm going to have some fun.
Go on.
I am going to make that hockey themed live on air. But I'm doing good. How you doing, Dan? How's everything? How's life? How's the weather?
You know, the weather has been hot. It got up to 87.
I'm sorry. What? Oh,
87.
Sometimes it's got to jog the memory that you're in North Carolina.
Yeah, not in Ohio.
I'm
not
like,
in
what
Minnesota
do you
anymore?
I'm like, what the hell do you mean? It's been hot. It's been perfect.
Yeah, it got up to 87 here today. It was 82 yesterday. And
Right.
I am dreading summer at this point. If this is what it is in April, I am going to be a puddle on the sidewalk come July.
Dreading summer. It couldn't be me.
I always am colder weather over warmer weather. Always.
I mean, I kind of want to hear from the comments, which I'm not going to get to see live like I usually do because somebody didn't send me the login.
Okay, you texted me 4 minutes before the show and said, "Hey, can you get me the login?"
Yes, I may or may not have done that, but you know what? Maybe you should have read my mind and been prepared for it.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
I'm just saying, and here we go. I'm going to change this screen live. What do we got? Oh, baby. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect.
Is that what I think it is?
That's exactly what you probably think it is.
Great.
That, my friends, is Connor Bedard's goal celly live on my water cooler LCD screen. I don't know how many computer nerds we have watching, but yes, I built a computer. I bought a water cooler that has an LCD screen that I can put GIFs up on. Would it make you happier if I put Shrek up on it?
Actually, yeah.
I do have one. You know what? Just we're going off the rails right now, and I love it. It's the final show of the 2023-24 season, Dan.
Regular season.
Regular season.
That is important. Season. This is not our last show of the NHL season. This is not the
last show of the NHL season, but the playoffs are their own season. It's a new season.
They really are.
So if anything, it's kind of like our season finale that leads right into our season premiere, our playoff season premiere. I'm making all this shit up as I go. I don't know.
Tell you what, Joel, I'm going to take you full screen here for a moment just so we can show off the new monitor there.
Well, thank you. Yes. So yes, the new look. I don't know if anyone's ever actually seen you're getting a view into my house. You've had an angle of me from straight up. You've had an angle that way. You've had an angle behind. Now you're getting an angle over here. If the light wasn't so bright, maybe I can mess with this. You can actually see that I look at the lake. It's not working, is it? That's not going to really work. I tried. I'm giving you a behind the scenes. This is what we do on the last regular season show. But Dan is clearly moving stuff around. I look dark. It's only because of the lighting. But yes, so this is the new setup. She's colorful. She's vibrant. She's got Connor Bedard. She's got this graphics card that's like the size of my living room.
You know, I kind of expected instead of Bedard, I was actually thinking it was going to be the Patrick Kane Showtime. Is what I had expected that was going to be.
I mean, I guess
that's coming.
To go with the show, it would make more sense because we're going to talk about we would be remiss if we didn't at least talk about the Joel always with the new looks. Pretty soon we will get multi-views in a news broadcast.
We'll have Joel with Joel Camera 1, Joel Camera 3, Joel Skybox Camera,
Joel Fisheye Camera, or Fish Lens.
Joel drone footage. We'll fly a drone outside your.
That would be fun.
Not sure we could quite get away with that one, but we'll have to see.
Dan, we can get away with whatever we want. This is America.
Well, Joel, let's get into things here. Let's start off with some stick taps.
Absolutely.
We've got a few to go around. We'll start off with a regrettable stick tap to Team Canada beating Team USA in women's IHF gold. We talked about last week, was it a trip? Was it not a trip? Had a nice lengthy debate on that one. The hockey gods looked down on Canada with favor as Canada takes
as they
gold.
Typically do.
Canada takes gold, USA takes silver, and Finland takes bronze. So just as we said, that division of death in the early round, yielding 3 medalists out of it. So that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, congrats to them, or stick taps to them, I should say. We had Facebooks, or is that still an issue?
We should be back on Facebook. Joey is commenting from Facebook.
Oh, duh, he did just come.
We did have an issue with Twitter for a hot second, but that seems to have since fixed itself.
Yeah, I'll share it later. They found us. Stick taps and the other stick tap.
Oh, we got more than just 2. But go with your stick tap.
My stick tap is probably the obvious one of Connor McDavid being the first one to get 100 assists in a season, the first since.
Oh shoot! I should have looked this one up earlier.
You don't have to. You can throw out the name of all names. Gretzky.
Yeah.
Back in, I believe, I'm going to look up the exact dates, but it was in the early 80s. I want to say it was the 83-84 season, but.
Okay, then if that was the case, then
I'll gut check myself on that.
I don't think ever did it.
No, I believe it was 83-84, but I have. Where are you? I'm sorry. It was 90-91. Yep, the 1990-1991 season is the last time someone got 100 assists. And I mean, are we going to preemptive stick tap Kucherov for also getting 100 assists because he's at 99 and all signs point to he'll probably get 100.
Well, the only thing is going to be, does he end up playing tomorrow night? I was right. Lemieux did do it. He did it in 89. But
there you go. And then the next year was Gretzky, and now this is the first time since then.
But if Kucherov plays, which the last game before the playoffs, they might give him the night off. But when you're chasing that kind of a milestone, I mean, do you leave it up to the player, or you decide what's best for the team? And they're locked into their playoff positioning, so nothing's going to change there. Yeah,
I don't know. All I know is my Stanley Cup pick is looking real sharp right now.
It's the same debate with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and do they give Austin Matthews a game off or let him try for 70 goals? He's stuck on 69 right now.
Nice. They should just leave him there.
Yeah, he's had a nice season.
He's had a very nice season.
So I guess stick taps to both of them for how close they are to the nice even number of milestones.
What did Matthews finish with last year?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
He didn't get 70, right?
No, not last year. No.
He got 62, I think, or 64.
That sounds right.
It was the first 60-goal season in quite a few years.
Deanna checking in here as well. Deanna, thanks for joining the show tonight.
Your alarm went off.
How about that? We got it. More stick taps. Stick taps to our boy Frank Nazar's first NHL goal.
How the hell you're doing that before me?
Yeah. And then one last stick tap here, and that is Denver Pioneers winning their 10th national championship, defeating Boston College, who was heavily favored in that matchup as well.
Yeah.
Denver's goalie was so good. Most outstanding player of the tournament. Shuts out BC. He was phenomenal throughout the tournament. Matt Davis, and led Denver to the championship. They earned it, and they're the first to 10. So stick taps to Denver.
Double digits. Oh yeah, no, I know. I'm glad you mentioned, because I was obviously going to bring up Frankie Nazar. First shot, first shift, first goal.
You'll love to see it.
First game, first shot, first shift, first goal.
Those who've been regularly following Pod Snipe Celly know how mad I was when the Blackhawks drafted Nazar. I said from before that, I was like, listen, this kid's going to be good. Joel, you get that firsthand now.
I'm so excited. And honestly, the fact that Davidson decided to just say screw it, which Kyle Davidson has gone on record saying like he is not worried about don't mess with the NCHC.
Yeah. All they do is churn out champions.
Davidson has gone on record saying he does not really care that much about or worry too much about the whole burning the first year of the contract thing.
Mm-hmm.
He signed his ELC and literally a day later, come on up. We got 2 games two games left. Come on in.
Yep, you're in, you're playing. We want you. We want you around the team.
And he made an impact right away.
And I like that we're starting to see more of that mindset where as guys are coming up from the collegiate ranks, that they're getting a chance right away to jump into the NHL down the stretch. You know, the Wild last year got to take advantage of that with Brock Faber, who came up. He played 2 regular season games as well after the Gophers lost in the national championship game. Yeah. And immediately he's in for the playoff run against Dallas. And he might have been the best Wild defenseman in that series against the Stars. So Nazar jumping in, love to see that he's successful right off the bat. Mateo chiming in to say Liam Ugrin for Calder. Points per game pace. Ugrin's crushing it right now. So if that's the only number you look at, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
He's probably going to be a strong Calder choice next year. Although, let's be serious, it's going to be Macklin Celebrini's to lose next year too.
If he plays, he might go back to Boston.
Yeah,
I don't think he would, but there is that chance. You never. It's not like a. What?
Sorry, I'm throwing my hands up here for a comment from Deanna. Luca Delbel Belouz his first NHL goal tonight on his first shot and second shift right out of the penalty box after serving too many men. I drafted Luca Delbel Belouz in fantasy hockey. He's on my dynasty team.
Say that name 5 times fast.
Luca Delbel Belouz, guy is good.
I can't even say it once. Luca Delbel Belouz.
There you go.
Wow, that's pretty sweet. Look at that. You'll love to see it. Let's be serious. It's Danila Euros to lose. What, next year?
Next year. I mean, if Yurov comes over, if he doesn't sign another extension in Russia,
right, dude. I love the. But to me, sorry to finish my point. What I was saying is, I don't know. To me, that seems like Frankie Nazar is going to be here next year. I don't. Yes. I know it was kind of like a most likely, like probably. But this, to me, like signing that ELC, burning the first year of it on just these 2 games, and also just a little cherry on top of how he performed in his first game, that kind of automatically tells me, like, no, he's not going back to Michigan. He's a senior, right?
Or is he a junior? Junior. He would have had one more year.
So he would have had one more year. Yeah, something tells me it's not happening. Something tells me he's going to be here next year.
Wait, no, actually, I think he might have been sophomore. Now that I think about it. Give me just a sec. I'll check.
Yeah, go ahead. But that's I meant to call up the video of his goal. I wanted to show it on the show for anyone watching, but obviously I got logged out since I'm on a new computer. Oh, okay. So he would have had 2 more years, but either way, I think it's written in the stars. Backwards hat, Joel. What team are you cheating on the Hawks with this week? It is a Hawks hat. It is a Black Hawks hat.
There we go.
Here's how you can tell. White, like, body of the hat is the Hawks hat. The black netting of the hat is the Golden Knights hat, or my Goose Island Brewery hat, which is still Chicago, so that's not cheating on them.
So how about this? This year, the Wild had 2 strong Calder rookie contenders in Faber and Marco Rossi. Next year, Chicago is going to have 2 with Nazar and Macklin Celebrini. So how about that?
Well, honestly, like, all the jokes aside, all of this conspiracy theories aside, I was like listening to a bunch of stuff today, the Chaos podcast, Too Much to Remember. I'll just assume you're cheating every week. Well, this is the last Blackhawks hat for the last regular season show, Snipe Celly show, because now the Golden Knights hat comes out because the playoffs are starting.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like it's not going to happen. We'll get 2 or 3. I'm not going to disagree with you at all. It's going to be number 2 or number 3. I'm not that's happening. If it doesn't happen, I actually will be mad.
I'm telling you, I think Celebrini is going to Chicago.
I don't think.
I'll be more surprised if anybody else wins the lottery.
Here's my first spicy take of this show, because this show is going to be all over the place and fun. My first spicy take. And this could segue into what we talk about first. Macklin Celebrini will go to the Arizona Coyotes or the Salt Lake City insert name here.
Yeah, I think they're going Utah instead of Salt Lake City for their name, but you're right.
Yeah.
And that is a good segue because we do need to talk about
Utah. You're right. Salt Lake City would be a little too much of a mouthful.
Well, and it's the owner of the Utah Jazz as well, so he wants to keep it more.
That part I didn't know. I didn't know that part.
Yeah, keeping it more Utah named than more Salt Lake City specific.
But they will play in Salt Lake City more.
Correct.
Where the hell else would they play? On top of the Red Rock?
There are some very nice minor league hockey rinks out in that area. If they want to continue putting the Coyotes in.
Here's the real question. Can you, without Googling it, can you name another major city in Utah?
Moab. Spelled M-O-A-B.
That was Moab.
Whichever. I thought it was Moab.
I was like, yeah, that's right.
Moab. I've only ever seen it written out. I've never actually heard it pronounced.
Pretty sure it's pronounced Moab.
Someone give me the pronouncer on that so we can get it right.
All right, good job.
That's like the only other one that, like, without really thinking about
it. Cities in Utah. Cedar City, St. George.
Nope.
Ogden. There's Moab.
Ogden. I should have come up with Ogden. I knew that. They have a USPHL team.
There is a Hurricane, Utah.
That's a choice.
Whoa. Oh, West Valley City. I thought it was called West Velvet City. I'm like, that's fancy.
No, that would have actually been a cool name.
Oh, my God. We're both stupid. Saratoga Springs. That's a pretty common place, actually.
Deanna's saying, I thought it was Moab too. It probably is. I've only ever seen it in print, so I'll take the L on that one.
It's the only other one I knew too. It's definitely Moab. What else we got?
Well,
Rice Canyon City. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, let's get to the future of hockey in Arizona here, because for those who have not been following this story,
we're talking about the future of hockey in Arizona.
the short-term future of hockey in Arizona is Utah. The Coyotes are going to be paused as a franchise is my understanding of the situation here, where it'll be kind of like when the Cleveland Browns packed up and moved to Baltimore, where they paused franchise operations for a couple of years and then effectively came in as an expansion franchise. That is the expected avenue for what's going to happen here with Arizona. The Coyotes players will move to Utah and play for whatever the new Utah team is going to be. It sounds like following the completion of the regular season, since the Coyotes are not playoff bound, we'll get a more formal official announcement that the Coyotes are going to be on the move, and whatever the legal term is for their pause that they're going to be taking. It sounds like it's going to be the current owner is going to sell the team to the NHL for $1 billion. And then the league has a deal in place to sell to the Jazz owner for $1.3 billion. That extra $300 million gets dispersed among the remaining 31 NHL clubs, similar to an expansion fee and how that works out. So I guess short-term news is that might mean the cap is going up for next year, just based on that alone.
Solid. I'll take it.
So
solid.
It helps. Joel, this has kind of been a long time coming with the history of hockey in the desert, and it kind of feels like this is the final death by 1,000 cuts that has been hockey in the desert thus far.
1,000 cuts.
And it really, I don't know. For me, it leaves a very bad taste in my mouth with how all of this has gone down.
I mean, the only bad taste in my mouth from it is kind of like when we found out and like how the players found out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure obviously they all read the internet, they're all on social media, but like
Mm-hmm.
them actually like just being notified, I think like 2 days or a day, or so it was like 2 days or something before this went to the public.
Mm-hmm.
It was very quick, and it's
Yeah.
like that's gotta be like, how the hell do you go play a game when all of a sudden you're like, hey, the our team isn't going to exist after these next couple of games.
So it's not that the Coyotes players aren't going to play next season. They are going to play, and they're going to move to Utah and play for whatever the Utah team name is.
Because it's not an expansion team, so there's not an expansion draft.
It's kind of like just that relocation factor.
Yeah.
However, the Coyotes' current owner is going to retain the branding, the team history, the logos, jerseys, all that, naming right stuff. And then if he is able to get a new stadium built in Arizona in the next 5 years, they will award him an expansion franchise that will be the Arizona Coyotes, and then he can use all of the branding, all of the jerseys again, but they'll go through the expansion draft process.
So we'll have 33 teams.
So we'll have 33, but then we've also got to consider Atlanta is probably getting a team. There's 34. Kansas City has been floated. Quebec City has been floated.
Quebec.
Portland has been floated. And there have been a few options for where
my thing is
expand to.
My thing is I think Portland is off the table now that this just happened. I don't think they're going to expand right next to each other that quickly. Maybe eventually, but
I don't know, because I mean Pacific Northwest hockey, and then all of a sudden you've got Utah, whatever that's going to be. You've got Seattle, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton. Throw Vegas in that mix as well. Vegas isn't really. Vegas is closer to SoCal than Pacific Northwest, but still.
Yeah, that's south. That's too south.
Yeah, a little too far south. But
obviously Utah is technically right there, though, so it's interesting. I don't know. It was a shock, but at the same time, like you said, it's kind of been a long time coming. I'm not like pissed about it. It's pretty fun. Like, we're gonna get a new team without it being an expansion team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of fun. I do feel for the players, but I'm probably gonna sit on the other side of the fence here and say, like, it doesn't leave a bad taste in my mouth. Like, the Coyotes owner handled this shit very poorly.
Yes, very much so.
Very poorly. And hell, I think this throws everything out the window now of the take that the Coyotes are Bettman's baby. Clearly not, because this happened. If that was actually true, he would not have let this happen. And I get it. The Coyotes are still going to eventually reemerge.
I mean, and that's why I disagree, is because of the fact that they're being allowed to go this route and have a second chance despite the history of failure of how things have gone so far, from going Phoenix and then moving out of Phoenix and into Glendale, and then you can't get a deal done in Glendale, so you try to go to Tempe and you can't get a deal there. Then you move into a college facility, and the one that really, for me, like, and Deanna just brought it up here as well, the staff with the team, the day-to-day staff, your ticket sales reps, your broadcast crews, your arena staff, everybody involved on that side of things, covering the team as a beat writer. All of those people are losing their jobs because they're probably not in a position where they can pack up and move to Utah and be with the new team. So they're completely out of luck. I had heard that the Coyotes social media manager, they had parted ways with their old manager, I think, at the end of last season, and their new manager had packed up and moved across the country for this job, got hired like 2 weeks before the season started, and they're already going to be out of a job again unless they're moving with the team now to Utah. That to me is where it really is like just the worst part of it all. Beyond the players moving, beyond leaving fans out in the cold, is the team staff who gets completely screwed in that regard.
Yeah, no, that I definitely agree with, and that kind of comes down to the player part too, where it's like the players found out a day or two prior to this going public. When did all the staff find out? If the players themselves barely found out, like,
I've heard that some of the staff were actually dismissed ahead of time, and that was what kind of tipped the players off that all of this was going down.
Got it.
It was either the owner's son or the general manager's son who ended up taking over the team's social accounts. And there was like a very obvious change in like the tone of the posts that they were making and whatnot. Because social media managers, like, they have some personality to the brands, and you can kind of tell, okay, this is the team account tweeting, this is, so and so. And then when that changes and it's a completely different tone to the tweets, like, you can read between the lines on that one too. Just an awkward transition. Another problem here too. I'm checking to make sure we got a text from HP, and I was making sure that, okay, no, that was not related to Arizona here. But I mean, the previous owner of the team filed for bankruptcy.
Yep. In 2009.
Yep. 2021, Katie Strang with The Athletic, who was a phenomenal reporter, had a scathing piece about the toxic work environment that the Coyotes had. Interviewed 50 current and former employees in this article, basically saying, like, this, it looks good on paper, but the things that we've had to go through here, nobody should have to go through in a workplace. Reports cited at least 8 vendors who had outstanding bills from the Coyotes. It took a league memo this year for the Coyotes to pay their hotel bills because they hadn't been paying hotels on the road.
Yeah.
At least one report of alleged sexual harassment. This was a team that forfeited players for forfeited draft picks for illegal prospect testing during COVID. They drafted Mitchell Miller, and all of that fiasco and bad PR that came around that move. Every step of the way has been a tripping point for the Coyotes. Yeah. And yet the door is still open to go back with the same owner. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
No, totally. I agree. I don't know, man. It's and actually, I mean, like, you see it kind of resonating too. Like, it's such a shitty situation, and the Coyotes are in such a blender, and now this kind of being the quote unquote final nail in the coffin, even though, like you said, like, they still, like, the door isn't completely shut. I was reading up a little bit on, like, because I think we obviously, when we think Arizona, you think the Coyotes, you think Austin Matthews.
Yeah, who is leading the league in goals this year.
Right, and he's an absolute superstar, and literally from ESPN, like, look, Austin Matthews never suited up for the Coyotes, but if it weren't for that team, Matthews may never have believed in pursuing hockey. He actually had a quote as well. Obviously, selfishly growing up there with them was a big part of me getting into hockey. Matthew said on Thursday, I'd love for them to figure it out, but you kind of understand the position the NHL is in as well. And then you also jump into his teammate, Matty Nyes, who was also from Arizona. Matty Nyes also got interviewed from Shilton on ESPN. And he said a little bit more. He was like, I'm not too happy with the situation. It's pretty unfortunate. The Coyotes did a lot for me growing up, and I loved going to the games. it's a big reason, as to why I got into hockey, but that kind of situation is out of my control. And then, he kind of says like, we'll have to see what happens. And then he actually, he continues saying like, look, when I was growing up, Arizona wasn't the hockey hotbed that a Colorado or a Chicago or a Detroit was, but it was definitely growing, when he was growing up, and you could see the potential there. The Coyotes were a big part of that. And he literally said like, it's gotten a lot better. Like, I know a lot of kids started to pick up hockey sticks now, and it just really is good to see. So again, hope they can stay there, but clearly that's not the case. So like, one of the hottest rookies and one of the superstar quote faces of the league came from the fact that the Coyotes existed. Whether they were good or not, they got into hockey as a result of that. It's not like Arizona, you can't rule out any states, truly.
No, if you want to grow the game, you have to expand into non-traditional markets.
Right. And you have to be willing to have the balls to do it. So I'll give Bettman that. At least he was trying to, keep it there. And look, I mean, like you said, the door is still technically cracked, I guess. I'm going to be very interested to see how the hell they pull that off in 3-4 years down the line or something like that. I'm very interested. Joey?
I mean, it really can. I'll bring up one more point here, and then we'll bring Joey's comment back up. But that is, they do have a land auction that they are trying to go for at the end of June. It's like the 22nd or 26th, I think. Something in the 20s. But basically, like the league told them at a meeting like a month ago, like, we can't wait that long to figure out if you're going to get a new rink. Playing in 4,600 seat Mullet Arena is cutting way too much into attendance revenues to be a sustainable business model. It just doesn't work.
Yep.
So they have to move the team until they can figure this out. And with that in mind, like, if this team can't afford to pay hotel bills, how are they going to win a land auction?
Which
I just don't see it.
Say that in your brain. A professional team in a professional sports league can't pay the hotel bills. I don't know. That just right away is
major
like,
red flag.
That's what's worse than a red flag. That's what that is.
I have a 5-bell alarm, everything going off.
Sure, whatever. Like, it's sad.
I'll give you Joey's comment here to take a look at.
It's Joey. Yeah, it's very sad. Loved the area in Glendale. Glendale is very beautiful. Was a really cool spot. Lots of things to do around the arena. Once it didn't make it there, I knew their days were numbered. Brutal. Yeah, and I mean, look, what was it? 2 shows ago, so 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about that little rendering that they
that was last week.
It was last week.
Last week we were talking about it.
Obviously, and like we said, renderings are always beautiful, but that was an absolutely sick rendering, and it was putting them back in
back in Phoenix.
Back in Phoenix, that's right. Yeah, I thought it was back in Scottsdale. Yeah, it was putting them back in Phoenix, and that area, like, yeah, if you executed it, would have been insane. But no, Joey, come back. It's not like Arizona didn't have any stars. Roenick, Doan, Hobby Bullet, right? They were a pain in the ass.
Prime Mike Smith.
Right, prime Mike Smith.
Mike Smith, circa 2012, was one of the top 3 goaltenders in the league.
There's a reason I hated him so much, because that year he gave us fits and, yes, also knocked us out of the playoffs. Like, yeah, in the early 2010s, like, he never gained enough traction. They made it to
the conference finals.
They made it to the conference final, right? Like, and then from there, I mean, things kind of just never really took shape after that. It was kind of like a little pop-up season, one and done. But like,
it was a series of becoming a contract dumping ground. Like, you send. Oh, here you go, Joel. You'll love this one.
That's true.
Rafi Torres.
All of this is Rafi Torres' fault. All of these players having to up and move, all of these lost jobs, blame Rafi Torres. That's fair.
I'll give you that one. But yeah, it became a dumping ground for bad contracts. It was perpetual kicking the can down the road on a rebuild. You finally start to get some star players coming up. You sign them to a cheap-ish deal and then trade them for more picks and prospects. it has been no joke. It's been 10 years of a continual rebuild without any sustained success. They had one year where they had Taylor Hall just on a mission.
My God, I forgot about
that. Remember when they had Taylor Hall? Remember when they had Phil Kessel?
Remember when they had
R.I.P. to the Coyotes legend jokes. Coyotes legend Pavel Coyotes legend Marian Hossa. Coyotes legend Shea Weber.
Coyotes legend Brent Seabrook.
Yeah, that too.
I actually think that contract just ended.
Actually, no. Seabrook comes off the books this year. His contract is currently with Tampa Bay, I believe.
Okay, yeah. No, I know it's been moved around a lot since then, but I'm late, but did he take the... Oh, shit, I forgot.
Well, given the serious nature of the Coyotes this week, it's probably better that you didn't.
Yeah.
But
you know what? We'll have some fun with our playoff
gummies?
Yeah, playoff gummies. How's that sound? Because then my team isn't even involved, so, my second team is.
Don't forget the Magic Man, Pavel Datsyuk.
Magic Man, Pavel Datsyuk, second best hands in the league ever.
Well, I disagree.
Yeah, well, I know you would disagree.
Datsyuk play defense. Anywho. You're getting booed.
You know what? Hey, you're right. I owe you a gummy, and I will do it next week. You have my word.
I'm going to put this back up and also give it a boo to Coyotes ownership.
Yeah. I mean, they've been fucking up for years, and now this is just the ultimate kind of nail in the coffin of you are just a shitty owner, and you should have never been in this business.
Yeah, it's...
Hopefully, at least for the players' sake, specifically, since they're obviously moving to Utah, hopefully the Jazz's ownership can, I guess, right the ship, so to speak, with a new city and a new look.
Mm-hmm.
The Jazz are decent, right? So, Jazz have a really good history.
The other thing here, too, the players' union is going to keep pushing back on this as well. Because, their families having to move their houses, having to move their kids out of school, all that sort of stuff. Like, they have lives outside of hockey that are
the owner should cover that shit.
There should be a way to figure that out. I don't know what it is. I'm glad it's not my problem to have to figure out what it is. And I hope that the people who are tasked with that are smarter than me in that regard. HP nailed it. He's a moron that can't pay. So
here's the thing. One of the articles I was reading was something about in order, and I quote, it was in order to appease Morello, and it talked about the $1 billion, they're giving him the $1 billion for the team. The buyback, yeah. I'm appease? Fuck you. You shouldn't be getting appeased. Yeah.
Why does the current owner have to be appeased on that? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Appeased my ass. But to put a bow on it, it's sad, but just being the optimist that I am, on the brighter note, I am happy for the hockey fans in Utah, specifically Salt Lake City. I know there's minor league teams up there, not too far away from it. I know the Portland Winterhawks that's a pretty huge fan base, so that's going to be fun for them to have an actual NHL team really close to them, close-ish, I guess. Actually, you know what? I'm going to look up how close Portland is to Salt Lake.
Ogden Mustangs, USPHL shout out. While you're looking those up, Joel.
It's an 11-hour drive. So it's not necessarily short, but a flight is only an hour. Hour, 2 hours. Not bad.
Joel, let's move into the Hart Trophy race. We were going to talk about this one last week. We ended up not getting to it. But the Hart Trophy race, this is a close one. And there are really 3 ways that you really can go at this point. I would argue 4, maybe even 5 truly deserving players this year.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about a 3-horse race right now between Nathan MacKinnon, Nikita Kucherov, and Connor McDavid. Maybe you throw Austin Matthews in there if he gets to 70 goals. Maybe.
I think Artemi Panarin's going to get a couple of votes. Not enough to be really in the top 3, but I think he can get some votes. 120 points on the season, Artemi Panarin. Remember when Stan Bowman traded him to get Brandon Saad back? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
You're getting chirped in the comments again.
Wait, why are we talking about it? Isn't it obvious? Tux. Look.
Got him.
It's somewhat obvious. I mean, at the end of the day, it usually, as much as you hate to admit it, at the end of the day, it usually goes to the highest points. Because
highest
usually the highest points.
The player with the most points on the best team, which of that bunch
it's Colorado.
Is Nathan McKinnon in Colorado.
Yes. But realistically, it's still close. Like, yeah, statistically, yeah, which is kind of crazy to think because Colorado is actually only 8th in the league. Right behind them is 1 point behind them is Edmonton. So really, that's a coin flip between McDavid and McKinnon, actually. And then Tampa being barely in the play. I mean, they clinched the playoffs, but they're the 14th seed in the league. Like,
yeah, we haven't even talked about too, by the way, how close the race for that last wild card spot in the Eastern Conference is.
We can do that very quickly because I have the scenarios on my phone ready to go.
It's a good thing you do. While you're getting that up, let me throw this out there too. Kucherov has a 53-point lead over his next closest teammate, and he leads the league with 142 points. Like, it is insane.
It's
the year he's having.
It's seriously, it's so quiet too. Like, no one's talked. We've barely talked about it. Nobody, and we're just a small.
Remember when he phoned it in at the All-Star game and is just like, I do not care. I'm here to drink. I'll show up and play hockey when it counts.
And then he came back and was like, okay, it counts again. Here we go. And he just, like, nobody's talking about it. It's kind of crazy. Like, nobody's talking about a 142-point season. It's a little weird. But so, real quick, before we do kind of get who our vote is going to be, here are the scenarios for that East playoff spot that you just talked about. All of these teams have, of course, 81 games played. So here's how it works. The 4 teams in question that can get that spot are the Caps, the Red Wings, the Penguins, and the Flyers. For the Caps to get that playoff spot, they need to win versus Philly, or they need 1 point versus Philly, and the Red Wings to lose versus Montreal. Any type of loss, too.
Yep.
But they not only do they need to win and have some of those happen, they also need 1 point versus Philly and the Penguins to lose against the Islanders. So their simplest path is just the win and the Caps are in.
By the way, while we're scoreboard watching here, Capitals Flyers tied 1-1 at the end of the second. Montreal beating Detroit 3-2 at the end of the second.
You gotta be kidding me.
Montreal nearly played the spoiler last night. Gave up the 6-on-5 goal to tie and then lost in overtime.
Well,
they may stun Detroit.
I was about to get to Detroit. What Detroit needs to do is they need to win versus Montreal, which they are currently not doing, and they need the Caps to earn 1 point or lose. So they need them to lose, but they can also afford to lose in overtime as well. Or this is the weird one. They need to get at least 1 point from Montreal, and the Caps have to also lose in regulation, and the Penguins have to get 1 point or less. So literally regulation loss versus Montreal, they're done.
Yep.
So if that score sticks, Red Wings are done. And the Red Wings will have literally wasted the resurgence of Patrick Kane. In order for the Penguins to get in, they need to win against the Islanders, and the Caps and Red Wings have to earn a point or less. By the way, this is all per Frank Saravalli. As of, what was this, yesterday?
Yeah, this is all accurate. That's still correct.
Yeah, this is all per Frank Saravalli. He knows his shit. Or 1 point versus the Islanders, Caps and Red Wings both lose in regulation. So regulation loss versus the Islanders for the Penguins equals total elimination. And finally, the Flyers have to
They need the chaos.
Yeah, they need a regulation win against the Caps, and the Red Wings also have to lose versus Montreal in regulation, and the Penguins also have to lose in regulation against the Islanders. So literally anything but that, they're screwed.
This is where it really gets interesting. The points right now, Washington 89, Detroit 88, Pittsburgh 88, Philadelphia 87 is the standings order. So Washington, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. If the NHL had a 3-2-1-0 point system where you get 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an overtime or shootout win, 1 for overtime or shootout loss, nothing for a regulation loss.
Which Dan and I are very in favor for.
Pittsburgh is the team that currently holds wild card 2. They would be tied with Washington. Philadelphia would be 3 points back, needing both of those teams to lose in regulation and a Philadelphia win in regulation. Yep. And even there, that still, I think, would only be enough to get them past Washington. And Detroit would have been mathematically eliminated coming into tonight.
I can't believe I'm saying this as a Blackhawks fan. Let's go Detroit.
Of those 4, I think they're the one that would be the most entertaining to watch in the playoffs right now. That said, seeing what one more playoff run from Crosby, Malkin, Carlson, Letang, that whole squad getting in there,
I agree.
The hockey fan in me wants to see that.
I agree. Obviously, my Hawks fandom wants to see Kane back in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, just as much as the playoffs are great with Patrick Kane, they are even better with that combo of players you just mentioned. So I get it. The Penguins would be my second choice. Sorry, Caps. Sorry, Flyers. I really could give a shit if you make the playoffs.
Based on where we're at right now, who gets that spot?
You say the Penguins are playing tonight.
Penguins are playing tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
So they get the benefit of waiting to see what happens with this chaos to figure it out.
I'm going to ride with it. I know it's 3-2, but I think the Red Wings do it. I think they can do it. They have the offensive prowess. They have guys that have been in this situation, Kane being one of them, the main one, really. I think it can happen. I'm gonna say the Red Wings.
I could give you 15 guesses as to who scored the Flyers goal tonight, and I do not think that you would be able to come up with it because honestly, I did not know this player was actually on the Flyers roster. Eric Johnson.
Oh my God.
The Flyers goal scorer tonight. Capitals goal scorer is a much easier guess.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said the Capitals goaltender or Capitals goal scorer is a much easier guess.
Is it Ovi?
It is Ovi.
What's he at now? He broke 20 now, right?
He's at 31.
Oh, that was random.
That's why Washington is back in the playoffs.
Mark's here. You're late.
Mark, we missed you the first half of the show, but glad you're here for the back half. Going to be a fun one.
All right. Well, we went on that tangent, so let's pick our heart. Let's pick our heart.
I'm gonna go Cooch. I'm gonna go Kucherov. I think he plays tomorrow. I think he joins McDavid in the 100 assist club.
Yep. And
maybe a multi-point game is enough to really put it over the top and solidify his case as the guy. Without the year that Kucherov had this year, Tampa Bay is not a playoff team. It's that simple for me.
It's crazy.
Edmonton, maybe they still get in without McDavid playing at the level he's been at. Maybe. At Tampa Bay, it's not even close. As injured as they were this year, he kept that team afloat.
Yeah. 43 goals, 99 assists. I think he's going to hit 100 as well. McKinnon just, quietly 51 goals, 87 assists, and a
Casual.
plus 34.
Yeah.
And then, McDavid. You know what? I'm going to go different. And I'm probably not going to – I don't think – I'm not going to go the way you think I'm going to go either. I'm going to say McKinnon.
That was where I thought you were going to go, but
oh, I thought you were. I actually had a thought of maybe going McDavid, but McKinnon has just been so incredible. And look, you're not wrong with the whole best team thing. They're only 1 point ahead of Edmonton. Hell, maybe that changes. Edmonton could jump them. But I mean, my God, you cannot deny that man what he has done. Same thing with Kucherov. He's not far behind Kucherov. What is he, 4 points behind, I think, or 5 now?
He is 11 back of Kucherov.
What?
Yep. Oh, McKinnon. Sorry, McKinnon is 4 back.
McKinnon
McDavid
is 4. I was like, that math ain't mathin', Dan.
Yeah, not bad.
It's like
McKinnon
142 minus 138 is 4.
Yeah, McKinnon's 4 back. McDavid is 10 back.
So he's only 4 back, and yet the team is so much better. The goals, the sheer goal. I think this is McKinnon's first 50-goal season as well.
I
don't think he's ever eclipsed 50. I think he's gotten to 40. I don't think he's ever gotten to 50. He's definitely never gotten to 50. Actually, wait, I can tell you that right now. I can tell you right now.
42 last year, and then 41 before that. So, yeah, it's his first 50-goal season.
Yeah.
Also, back-to-back 110-plus point seasons.
Yep. His second 100-point season or 100-plus point season in a row, and his first was last year. Yeah, I'm going McKinnon. I think McKinnon gets it. Do I think Colorado wins the cup? No. But wait a minute. We got one more thing, Dan.
Oh, we do?
We do.
What do we have?
We need to put to rest. We need to put to rest the Minnesota Wild and the Chicago Blackhawks regular seasons because their seasons are put to rest.
Oh, we've done that multiple times already.
Come on. We got it. What do you mean we've done it multiple times already?
I finished work 5 minutes before the show started, and I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Oh.
So I want to keep things moving.
Come on!
We have lamented our bad teams ad nauseum.
And we're not going to talk about them at all for the next month and a half.
I will give you 30 seconds, and you can put 30 seconds on the clock for me to do the same.
I mean, okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
So the Blackhawks' final record, after it's all said and done, and I don't even care how tomorrow goes, it's 23, 52, and 5. Let's say it's probably 23, 53, and 5. 51 points, second to last in the league, 31st in the league. But you know what? It's okay because Connor Bedard put up 22 goals and 38 assists for a total of 60 points. Even if he goes off tomorrow, he will not eclipse the 72.5 that I tried to say he might go over. I'd say all in all, it was a fun season, and it's now capped off with Frank Nazar's first NHL goal. The future is bright, but the future ain't here yet.
All right, I'm going to restart that timer for myself and just go ahead that way.
Go on.
Wild. Major disappointment, even despite knowing that there was going to be 15 mil in dead cap this season. I said from the get-go, like this Wild team, they might not make the playoffs is what I said on our first show when we did our preview. I was like, I had them third, but I thought that was a very optimistic take and said this team could easily miss. Just a disaster outside of Brock Faber, Kirill Kaprizov, Joel Eriksson and Marc-Andre Fleury. Thanks for those 4. The rest of you, gut check time.
No Matt Boldy or Marco Rossi in that, thank you.
Yes, but also no. I think those 4 really, like, if you're talking about ranking Minnesota Wild players this year, those 4 were S tier. I would put Boldy and Rossi B+ tier.
All right.
Brodin A tier. Everybody else way down. Johansson F tier. John Merrill D- tier.
Well,
those guys cannot be on this team next year, and that's that.
I'm sure they won't be. Well, all right.
They will be. They're both under contract for next year. So
Oh.
who's gonna take them at this point?
That's it. That is the Blackhawks and Wild regular season. They are over, and we will
Thank
be picking
goodness.
first or second overall.
Yeah, first.
Draft lottery is May 8th, I believe, or May 9th, somewhere around there. I think they haven't given an actual date yet, but I think it's May 8th. Anyway, let's do my favorite thing. My
favorite game.
Yes, and I hope all of our viewers' favorite. Blind ranking, which defenseman age 23 or under would you most want to build a team around?
Now, we started this last week with the forwards. This week, we're going to the defensemen.
Let me take a wild guess as to one of them that's in this list.
Full disclaimer, there are no Blackhawks or Wild players in this list. I did not want to include Faber. I did not want to include Korchinski. I wanted this to be a list that was as unbiased of an opinion as possible. Okay. So to that end, I did not want to include any Wild or Blackhawks players.
Well, Faber probably would have been my number one anyway.
Well, you say that, but wait till you know what names are on this list before you get that far ahead of things.
Game time.
Your first defenseman on the list, Owen Power.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
you forgot he was U23.
Oh, shit.
Owen Power on the season, 76 games played, 6 goals, 27 assists for 33 points, 28 PIMs, 115 blocks, 45 hits. He was the first overall pick in 2021. Joel, where are you blind ranking Owen Power?
Oh, my God. This might be me playing scared. 2.
Okay.
I was gonna say 3, but you know what? Owen Power has some hell of an upside.
He sure does.
So 2. I like Owen Power.
Defenseman number 2 on this list, David Juracek, Columbus Blue Jackets. 42 games played this year. He went back and forth, AHL, NHL. 1 goal, 9 assists for 10 points, but he is a shut-down defenseman. He's not going to be your big-time points guy. 20 PIMs on the year, 43 blocks in 42 games, 23 hits. He was the 6th overall pick in 2022. He's I got to check this too. So he is 20. Turned 20 in November.
I'm going to go 4.
Okay. Next up, Bowen Byram.
Oh, man.
Byram this year, split time between Colorado and Buffalo.
Yep.
So how about that? 2 of your top 3 on Buffalo.
Yeah.
73 games this year, 11 goals, 18 assists, 29 points, 53 PIMs, 104 blocks, 93 hits, 4th overall in 2019.
He is very good, but the thing is he's kind of better suited as like the sidekick. He is the number 2 of the top pairing kind of thing.
Not to mention the injury history there too.
And the injury history. So with all of that in mind, and I mean, look, I watched him in his playoff run, in his Stanley Cup run with Colorado. Like, that's the thing though, because like he was on the line with Cale Makar a lot of the time, I believe.
Because they had Devon Taves with Makar, but Byram was second pairing.
That's right. I think I'm gonna go 5. No, nothing against him.
Somebody's got to go 5.
Someone's got to go 5. We've seen a lot of him, and like, look, by the definition of this rank, building around, I'm not going to build my team around Bowen Byram. He's not a true number 1 in my eyes. He is a damn decent number 2, though.
The 4th defenseman on our list of names for you to blind rank. Jake Sanderson, the Ottawa Senators. 78 games on the year, 10 goals, 28 assists for 38 points, 23 PIMs, 137 blocks, 48 hits. He was the 5th overall pick in 2020.
I feel pretty good putting him at 3. You're not putting the update on the screen.
Oh, shoot. You're right. I thought I had him up. I was too busy typing in the
This
names.
is what happens when I'm not logged in, folks.
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to be pretty happy with that one because the last defenseman that I had for you is Moritz Seider.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So you lucked into your number 1 there. You played that game very well.
That worked out very nicely.
Here's list. Moritz Seider, number 1, Owen Power, number 2, Jake Sanderson, 3, Juracek, 4, and Bowen Byram, number 5. I will say my list was very similar to how yours shook out. The difference is I had Juracek and Sanderson flipped, but I've always been super high on Juracek.
I was going to say, now knowing, the only thing I would change is that. I would flip that.
Yeah. And I mean, you can absolutely make a case for Sanderson at 3 with way more offensive upside than Juracek. That might be easier to build around.
That's kind of why I was kind of sitting with, like, I'm okay with him going at 3. That's a pretty solid 3. That was a good one.
I'm a big Juracek guy. I'm a big Columbus prospects guy. So, Deanna, anytime you want to talk Columbus prospects, let's make that happen. Let's get you on here and do some offseason.
You hear about that Rick Nash kid? I hear he's supposed to be pretty good.
Nash was ridiculous. He was so good.
He was.
Pick segment. Joel, you went 0 for last week. You went 0 for 3. I went 3-0.
I went 1 and 2.
Oh, shoot. Did we have one that was the same? You're right. We both had Edmonton.
Yeah.
I apologize. Let me correct the numbers.
What the hell? I was like, I know I didn't do well, but I didn't go over. I was tracking it last week. I did not end up. I had some confidence to try and actually bet that. I did not, so I'm glad I didn't.
So, okay. So these are the correct numbers now. 37 and 39 on the season, 122 and 111 overall. My number's not that good in comparison. Trying to play catch up.
The final picks segment of the regular season.
We got 4 games tomorrow. We're doing them all. We're starting with Toronto.
Damn Maple right Leafs. We are.
Maple Leafs plus 105, Lightning minus 126. A straight up, who's going to win?
This, to me, is the type of game that the Maple Leafs just take a damn seat. Like, they're already clinched. I know so is Tampa. But, like, Tampa's way lower.
So neither team can improve playoff position.
Right. So, it's going to be kind of weird. Like, something tells me, like, a lot of the stars aren't going to play. You're not going to – oh, man. See, it's tough, though, because, like, we just talked about it at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Do you – I know – they say they don't care too much about personal stats, but Matthews hitting 70, Kucherov hitting 100 assists, joining that club with McDavid, like that's a big deal.
It is. And it's something that both of these teams are really going to have to consider.
Obviously, the ultimate prize is the Stanley Cup, so they don't want to risk anyone getting hurt. Cooler heads probably end up prevailing there, but that would be kind of sad to see one or both of them sit and not be able to get that really cool milestone. What?
Quick scoreboard update because we're just keeping an eye on things.
Good.
Red Wings have tied it up. It is 3-3.
Who got it?
Give me a second here while this loads.
Your favorite got the OT winner the other night.
Daniel Sprague is the one who tied things up.
Bless you. Anyway.
Sprong's not a bless you name. Come on. If you're going to pull that joke, at least do it for going from Montreal tonight. Your eyes,
Luca Dela Cruz Blanco, or whatever you said earlier.
God dang it! I'm going to kick you. Bellouse. It's not that hard a name.
I literally just combined a beer brand, Ellie Dela Cruz, and Luka Doncic all in one name.
This guy.
We need to clip that right now.
That's all you.
We are at an hour 4 is when it happened. All right. Anywho, I'm gonna take Tampa. I'm gonna be boring. They play well at home. Or do they play well at home? Let's actually double check that really quick. I'm pretty sure they do. I feel like they're 24-11-5 at home. And Toronto is 24-6-9 on the road. Yikes. Okay, hold on.
it's there's not a lot to split these teams.
No, and it just kind of depends on who plays, but I think Tampa takes this one.
Looking at these odds, this is 100% like a sportsbooks are going, we're not sure who's going to play, slight edge to the home team.
Yeah.
I think for that reason, I've got to go Tampa as well.
Yeah.
But Leafs could absolutely leaf and pull a 7-1 win out of nowhere and
take that into the playoffs and think that they're invincible.
But we'll both take Tampa Bay. Pittsburgh Penguins at New York Islanders. Penguins are scoreboard watching tonight. We just mentioned 2 games tied up. Red Wings are tied, and the Capitals are tied in their game.
Mm-hmm.
With the Flyers. Still 3-3 Red Wings Canadians. Still 1-1 Capitals Flyers. Penguins looking for that chance. Joel, if the Penguins are playing for a playoff spot tomorrow, I'm absolutely hammering Pittsburgh. If they do not make it, and they are in fact eliminated tonight, the Islanders have clinched a playoff spot. They're in, and they will play Carolina. That is confirmed.
Yep.
Islanders.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Good night, Islanders.
Yeah, that's Sorokin's going to steal a game, but for me, that series is over in 5.
We will be seeing you later.
Do you take the Pens either way? Do you take the Pens depending on what happens in the games tonight?
I think because of the unknown, because I got to remember, like, if the Red Wings win outright, that's it.
Red Wings win and a Capitals loss.
Right. In overtime or regulation. Oof, man. It's not a pick, but I actually don't. Pens have games in hand.
They have the one. They got tomorrow.
Yeah. So, like, oh, God, it's tough.
Yeah.
Because nobody worth merit is playing for the Islanders tomorrow, regardless of what happens.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Penguins either way, honestly.
Yeah, I'm with you.
One way you got the veterans who know how to show up for this type of thing, and, you know, the great players do great things. Crosby alone could carry them on their back and get into the playoffs.
Crosby alone pretty much has carried them
that's true.
Getting to the playoffs this year.
A 37-year-old Sidney Crosby has carried a load on his back all season long.
Crosby, 92 points in 81 games. Next closest on the team is Malkin with 65 points in 81 games.
Talk about washed up Ducks.
I mean, but still somehow in the mix.
I am still going to take the Penguins either way, though, because, yeah, if it's their last game, they'll still show up and just be like, well.
Yep, business is business.
If this roster that got put together to try and make the playoffs didn't make the playoffs, we're probably getting blown up. So,
yep. St. Louis Blues plus 1.5 goals, minus 144 at the Dallas Stars. Stars have to win by 2 for the purposes of this betting assignment. The Stars have locked up the Western Conference. Actually, wait. No, they have not. They've clinched the division. I didn't realize the Canucks still had 2 games yet to play. I thought Canucks only had 1. Canucks play the Flames tonight. If Vancouver does not come away with 2 points in that game,
they have to win out to win the conference.
They have to win out. It does not matter if they are overtime wins. They do still have the tiebreaker with regulation wins. Yep. But they need to win out, and they need the Stars to lose tomorrow for Vancouver to get number 1.
Right. And believe it or not, I don't know if they, because again, nobody of merit is playing tomorrow for the Stars.
Unless they have a shot to clinch. Like if Vancouver wins tonight, they need a point against the Blues.
I think they can do that with still sitting, some of their stars. I mean, I can't believe I'm about to do this, but I'm going to take the Blues to cover.
I'm going to take Dallas.
Ew. But you know what? It's okay. I'm giving them a little present because they didn't make the playoffs. Oh.
Well, Joel, it's time. One last time, the final game of the night, the Edmonton Oilers at the Arizona Coyotes. I made my decision as soon as I saw that this was the scheduled game. One last time, I'm doing Coyotes for the bit. And not only am I doing Coyotes for the bit, I am picking the Coyotes to win outright tomorrow night in their final game at Mullet Arena, in their final game in Arizona for now. I think the players show up and show out. That's been a scrappy team lately. Give me Arizona for the bit. Joel, are you hopping on board with me for the ride?
Well, you see, Edmonton's sitting at 104 points, second in the Pacific. You're goddamn right. I'm taking the Coyotes for the bit.
Let's go. We ride.
We ride. Plus 1.5, and you're damn right. I'm taking them on the money line too, separately.
I love it. Let's go.
Absolutely. Although, ironically enough, against my Stanley Cup pick. Spoiler alert for our playoff show.
Throwing this out there too, Edmonton has 2 games to play. They theoretically, depending on what happens, they don't. They play tomorrow and Thursday, and they close out their regular season on Thursday.
I didn't even realize there were games on Thursday.
Yep, there are still there's a Blackhawks game Thursday.
I thought we played. Obviously we wouldn't play. Oh yeah. That's against.
So we got 1, 2.
That's a 9:30 at night game against the Kings. I ain't gonna lie, I probably am not watching that.
Yeah, we got a 6:30 game. I did the same thing with a Wild game that started at 10:30 against the Kings.
Actually, I take that back. It's the last regular season game. Of course, I'm going to watch that.
Yeah,
I missed the last home game.
So the Oilers get the Avalanche on Thursday. So they need, if Vancouver gets any points if Vancouver gets 2 points tonight, Edmonton is locked into the second seed and Vancouver clinches. I think that's going to happen. They're playing Calgary.
Oh,
but man, if they don't,
I guess I was going to say, look, if the Oilers were absolutely smart, McDavid got his individual accolade with the 100 assist club. Mm-hmm. He has literally, he brought this team back from the dead in November.
Yeah, remember when they fired their coach and we got worried about, is this team going to make the same mistakes again?
Remember when they were 2-7 to start the season? something really bad like that. Mm. The Hawks were ahead of them in the standings at one point for a week. So yeah, I thought my Stanley Cup pick was dead on arrival, basically. And McDavid brought them back from the ashes. I would say I hear you. There is a chance they could get the 1 seed if Vancouver. No, wait, no. Vancouver and Edmonton both have 2 games to play.
Vancouver is playing one of those games tonight.
Right. If Vancouver, literally, Vancouver has to lose out.
And then Vancouver's next game. Wait a minute.
Yeah, because Edmonton is 3 points.
They play the Winnipeg Jets on Thursday at Winnipeg.
Vancouver does?
Vancouver does. But the Oilers have the Avalanche, so I'm taking Vancouver to win that division. Especially they get the point. They get 2 points against the Flames tonight, and they have the division.
It's one of those things. You thought you were dead. You clearly are not. You were pretty close to taking your division. I think if I'm the Oilers, I'm making a very unpopular decision to just sit McDavid and Draisaitl for these last 2 games, and anyone else you can think of that they should sit. It's unpopular. It's quite frankly, it's lame, but you do not want to risk anything happening to them. Anything can happen, and if one of them goes down, you're screwed and you're out in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So
recapping our picks, we are both going Coyotes for the bit.
For the final time in their franchise's history, Coyotes for the bit.
Unless they come back in 5 years, but who knows?
Who knows?
It doesn't look great, so we'll call it for now. One last time, Coyotes for the bit. I am taking the Dallas Stars to win by 2 or more. Joel is taking the Blues to win or to lose by 1. We both took the Penguins on that one, and we both took Tampa Bay. Joel, that was a pretty good show.
Mm-hmm. We had a lot to cover. It's the end of the regular season.
All that, and we didn't even cover. We have one more thing we were going to cover, and that was Jack Edwards, who has announced that he is going to be stepping down as the Bruins broadcaster at the end of the year. He's been having some speech problems for a couple of years now. The doctors haven't been able to pinpoint what's going on there. So, end of the era in the Bruins broadcast booth.
That could have. We probably should have brought that up as a stick tap.
Yeah.
Not to the health issues, but for him.
Right, but to his
career. His career,
him
retiring.
Somewhat of a polarizing figure. I mean, the ultimate Bruins homer. But he loved the Bees. And he called the game exactly as he personally saw it. And love him or hate him, you have to respect him. He was a very, very good broadcaster, and that's why he was with the Bruins for as long as he was.
Yeah.
So stick taps and hats off to Jack Edwards on a fantastic career. Hoping he gets some medical answers soon as well. It sucks to have to go out that way too.
Yeah.
And as someone who does broadcasting too, like I can't imagine the frustration that must be to get to a point where you're having these problems. It would absolutely crush me. To not be able to call my last game on my own terms.
Right.
I can't imagine at that level for Edwards, who has been with that team for 30-something years, that it sucks. So I hate to see that. So sorry to end the show on that little bit of a downer note. But thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. We had a ton of comments and a ton of viewers throughout the show.
Did we? I can't see them.
We always appreciate that. We'll figure out how to get Joel back into the StreamYard on his new computer for next week's show.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this angle. I want to hear in the comments do we like the angle on my Twitter mentions, because I can't see the comments literally as we speak. On my Twitter mentions, how's the angle? We good?
It was nice. You did get a comment earlier on the high-rise sunset that you could see kind of coming through the window. So
I wish you could see the lake a little better, but it was a little too bright.
Mark, thanks, guys. Appreciate you both. Sorry I was late. Mark, we love you, buddy. Thinking of you and your family as well.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you jumping on and joining us for a fun podcast tonight.
Deanna, remember to set that alarm.
Next show, Tuesday, April 23rd, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. We will have our picks for the playoffs on the Facebook page once the brackets are finalized. And Joel, one last look here at the out-of-town scoreboard. The Canadiens have taken the lead. It is 4-3 Canadiens over Montreal. Capitals and Flyers still tied 1-1.
Who's in net for Detroit right now? I blame them.
It's James Reimer.
Yep,
and the reason I know that is because I'm in a fantasy hockey championship and I'm desperate for points. And I thought Detroit was going to come out with a vengeance today and figure out how they struggled so badly against Montreal last night. And Reimer is going to cost me a championship. He's not really going to cost me a championship. I was down a bunch. Tim Van Straten, you got me again.
Slavkovsky.
But yeah. So that's that on that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. He's Joel. I'm Dan. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody.
Bye.